Today we're going to paint some kind of cherry blossom in the winter. So it's not quite cherry blossom season yet, but they're starting to bud and they will break through. But there, in most places, will still be snow on the ground or it'll still be cold. So we're going to start off with the background. I've got a little bit of white and a little bit of black and a little bit of silver maybe. So this is mostly going to be very pastel for the background, very, very light gray. So I'm just going to take a scoop of white and a little dab of black, maybe 2 dabs. We're going to get a really light gray. Now gray always has different variants to it, but it's going to be a very light gray. It's up to you if you want to make it darker. Alright, so we want to start off by painting our background, and I'm going to get a little abstract in it in some aspects because the light will dance with the cold and the storm and the ice. So I'm just going to start off with a little bit of light gray that I had mixed. And I'm not going to use all of this, I'm just going to randomly place it. And then I'm going to pick up some more white, and I'm just going to soften up some areas. And it's going to be kind of abstract. It's not really going to have any rhyme or reason to it. It's just maybe a little bit lighter up here in the sky. We want to keep it light for the contrast, so kind of bear that in mind. You will want contrast. I'm going to make it a little lighter down here. In some aspects you want it to mirror because this will be kind of a water feature. Not sure, maybe a lake, maybe a stream, maybe a waterfall. That could be kind of fun. I don't know. I have an idea of what I want to paint, but I don't know how it's going to turn out. So as you watch this, this will turn out, we'll get to see it at the same time. Well, kind of. But you get to see what I paint, and basically it's going to be a mystery to me too. So I think you probably will have more of a heads up because you'll see the video thumbnail, but right now I don't know what it's going to be. I am painting the sides because it looks nicer when you hang it on the wall. So if you have a canvas that is actually stretched on wood, this is a good practice to get into if you decide to paint more in your future, or if you just want to know more about painting, now you know. That is called gallery wrap. I'm just streaking in some more white. Really just want the background to be kind of nice and soft and almost barely there so that the foreground can kind of pop forward. Alright, I do want some kind of mountainy feature. I'm going to mix a little bit of a, well, let's test out that gray that we mixed first. So just kind of creating some sort of landmass. I don't know, it could be rocks, it could be a mountain. I'm going to add a little bit more black to that gray mix. I'm mixing it off on the side, so I have the lighter gray mix right next to it. So just a little portion of what the light gray mix was is what we want to use. I'm just kind of patting the paint around, letting the darker areas pop through, letting the lighter areas kind of also pop through. Thinking I want maybe this to be the water and a little bit a snowbank here. I'm just adding a little bit more black to get that a little darker. Some elements are going to be covered in snow, so I'm not too terribly worried. I'm going to create some kind of like little background trees. So I just touched my brush into a little tiny bit of black, and I'm just kind of creating an upward stroke to give the illusion of trees in the background. And just adding some more darker areas. All right, we'll probably want to do this on the other side. Some kind of a land feature. I'm feeling I want a cherry blossom here and kind of a frozen lake here, although it should have kind of the reflection of that dark down below. So I'm going to just take some of that gray that I had on my brush and just kind of add it to the canvas. But then I'm just going to go ahead and take a little bit of white and just streak it through, just to kind of create sort of a shadow. I'm just creating some horizontal brush strokes. Picking up a little bit more white. And maybe a little bit more of that gray mix or a little bit of black. And then darken it up. And reflections are kind of distorted. So it just kind of has the illusion of that's a reflection. Okay, maybe more little trees here. All right, we want to kind of do something over here on the other side with some dark gray. And I want another cherry blossom to be here. I think rocks would look really cool. And we'll turn it into a stream. I'll almost kind of get like a, maybe of this even like a jaggedy cliff. But I'm going to let this background dry for now and just let the background paint set in. And we can be adding more layers to this. So we just kind of have an undercoat. But let's just take a nice quick little break. So I've let it dry. And now I want to add a couple more layers of background. So I'm switching to a big round brush, and I'm going to add a little tiny touch of black, or if you still have a kind of a light gray, go ahead and use that. I'm just going to add a little bit of this. I'm going to get a little wetter. And just kind of soften up some of those little gray areas. Kind of like water's flowing into it. Maybe add a little bit of white. We'll add more white in a little bit when we get to the snow. I think maybe this side needs a little bit more jaggedy. And also maybe a rock or two, or even a few. All right, I think I want to darken up the rocks a little bit more. I'm just going to add just black over this. This is also going to start to give it a nice contrast. I'm going to add a little bit more black into this area. It just feels a little rockier. I'm going to probably add some snow, so you don't have to paint the whole thing black. Okay, a little rockier. I want to add some trees kind of off in the distance or in the background. I'm going to take a really tiny small brush, a very light touch. I do not like how that tree turned out, so I'm going to just erase it with a little tiny paper towel and some water. I'm just going to soak up some of the excess paint before it dries. I think I had a little too much water in my brush, so it was really kind of just fanning out. We just want really light, tiny branches. And make it a little thicker at the base. And we'll add maybe another one. A little bit, oop, too much water. But you do need the water to help it glide on. And I'm just using my brush to soak up a lot of that excess water. All right. I think I want a bigger one right here. So let me think about that. Now we do want maybe some stronger branches to maybe come out. Maybe it does need one more little tree right there. Well, we'll go ahead and just add one more little tree. As they get closer, they get bigger. So I'm really using a very light touch when I create my branches. And if you notice, branches always have like a V or like a Y shape to them. And then you just want to naturally pull your brush into the middle of the branch, or the trunk, I'm sorry, at kind of a nice little curve, so it makes it feel a little more kind of organic. Well, that might be too big, but I'm not too worried about it because we'll probably put some snow on the branches. And there should be a tree here. So where could we put the branch? I don't know. Maybe we'll just make that nice and kind of farther away, and we'll put a bigger one over here. I'm going to add some little lines going down my tree trunk. I'm just using white, and I'm just making light brush strokes into the tree area to kind of mimic looking like bark. I feel like it needs a little bit more snow kind of on the mountain. Just gonna give it a little bit of a peek. I'm just tapping my brush and dragging it. So I've got a nice snow-capped little tiny mountain. Looks like it's dripping, maybe it's creating some waterfalls and falling into this little icy river. I'm just adding a little bit more kind of snow feel to it. adding just some vertical lines to kind of make it seem sort of shiny and almost frozen over. Okay, I'm going to start to add a little bit of snow on top of some of the rocks. Alright, I'm just going to add some more white to really kind of make some of that snow really stay solid and poofy. And it's okay if some of that gray shows through, but I'm going to just add a little bit more so that the tops pop a little bit more. And then the gray becomes kind of a shadow underneath. Alright, I think I'm going to probably have to go back in and redefine some of the black. Okay, so I will clean a small brush and just kind of go back over some of the black areas. Alright, well I think we have a pretty good background. I think I'm going to let it streak in a little tiny bit of white while my black is still a little wet. I think this is a good time to just let it kind of dry before we come back. Although I do see where I might want a couple more branches. Ugh, it's too wet. Alright, I think this is a good time to just let it dry, let it sit for a little bit before we start adding our cherry blossoms. So I've let it dry again, and now we're gonna, So I let it dry again, and now we're gonna mix a little bit of white and a little bit of red to get different shades of pink. So I have a round brush, kind of a medium round brush, and I'm just gonna take a little scoop of white, and I'm going to dab into the red, and I'm going to get kind of a medium, pretty little pink. Looks like about that. And I want to start to kind of create some just little dots, and towards the end of the trees. And I'm just using the tip of this brush. And I'm just kind of filling in little areas where cherry blossoms are going to go. And really I'm just creating little dots to get the illusion of cherry blossoms. Move over here to this side. And I want a little bit of a darker one, so I'm going to clean that medium round brush, and I'm going to take about half a scoop of white and about half a scoop of red to get a little bit of a darker pink. And I'm just going to go ahead and tap here and there. I don't want to overwhelm the light pink, although we will probably be adding more light pink to go over this. And again, I'm just creating little tiny dots. And I'll use a smaller brush for those. Kind of a very random pattern. Most of them are kind of staying along the top of where the branches are, but some of them even go in towards the middle of the tree. You're kind of just creating the illusion that your eye is dancing around the tree, and it's just kind of a suggestion that these are actually cherry blossoms. But it is pretty with the contrast between the pinks and the grays and black and white. I'm going to go back into a little bit of a lighter pink, maybe even make it a little even lighter. I'm going to go back in with my medium round brush, and I'm just going to take a scoop of white and maybe a dab of the light pink that we first made, just to get a little softer, the light pink. I'm just going to add some more little dots. These can kind of go over some of the darker pink, just to kind of tone it down a little. You don't want them to be too in your face. I'm going to tone them down a little, just a little tiny pop of color. Then I'm going to go back into the light pink and just add a little bit more of that first light pink that we created. And I'm kind of going over some of the darker pink just to tone it down a little, just little pops, little tiny pops of color. Okay. And now I think I want to add a little bit of white. All right, I think I want to add a little bit more kind of some snow to some areas. So I'm going to take a small round brush and maybe just tap it into some of these trees. Like maybe the snow kind of cling on to some of the branches. I'm going to go back over some of the trunk, give it a little bit more of a frozen, a little bit more of a frozen wasteland kind of feel to it. Or hidden little paradise, winter paradise. I'm just going to add a little bit more snow to the snowbank, just to really make it kind of stick out even more on the top. So if you see any gray, just go ahead and tap a little bit more onto it. All right, so we want to do a little bit of a reflection. So I'm going to take the small brush that I've been using and I'm going to add a little bit of water to my pink, but even kind of wipe that off. So I don't want too much. And I just want the water to be slightly tinged with just a little bit of pink. Not a lot, just a little hint on the frozen reflection. And kind of just taking horizontal brush strokes just to kind of tinge the water ever so slightly. Okay, and I feel like that's a good stopping point. So if you want to add, if you want to add a little bit more of the light pink that we first started with over into the trees and add just a little bit more, you can. It's really up to you. You don't want to overdo it though, and you do want to leave a little bit of space in between so you could see the background, so it looks a little more natural that way. But I think we're done painting. All right, you guys, and here is the finished product. Cherry blossom season. Anyway, you guys, I hope you had a fabulous time and you'll attempt this, but this is a fun painting and pretty easy to do if you set your mind to it. But it's just the magic of winter turning into spring, and these trees always show up first. They're so pretty when you drive in a street that has like just lined with them. They come in pink, they come in white. They're really just kind of magnificent. It's such a beautiful thing to see in kind of the cold part of winter. And you just see these beautiful pink and white flowered trees. And yeah, they bloom usually maybe late January, February, into early March, and they're just beautiful. So Japanese cherry blossoms is what they're called, or sakura is another name for them, but they are really very beautiful. All right, you guys, thanks for watching.